Hi, I'm Bill Lampton, the Biz Communication Guy. You want to become an effective leader, a highly effective leader? Well, there are hundreds of books on leaderships. There are many thousands of seminars given every year about leadership. There's a myriad of formulas that are given. I'm going to share mine very briefly. To me, going by my experience, 20 years in management, having worked as a leader and having worked for quite a few leaders, I see that there are four traits that are absolutely essential for top level effective leadership. The first trait that I recognize and share with you is visibility. Have you ever worked in a place where the CEO, the supervisor, the manager, the owner, whatever title they had, this person was rarely seen? This is why I liked so much the phrase that came into vogue a couple of decades ago, management by walking around. Let's think, for example, of something as simple as the workplace cafeteria. What happens in the cafeteria? Who sits together? Well, I remember an organization where the ones we called the suits, the top administrative officials, would walk into the cafeteria at mealtime, not acknowledge that anybody else was there, go sit at a table reserved for them, and conduct business, when they could have used that same hour to disperse themselves in the cafeteria, be truly visible, be truly accessible, and gain far more than they would gain in going through an agenda, which could have been done back in a conference room. So first of all, visibility. And have you ever worked someplace where the CEO had a private entrance to the building where he or she did not have to see any employees, any staff members? That's not the road to effective leadership. And then secondly, the effective leader has another communication skill, and that is credibility. Credibility. Consider an instance where the CEO would announce to everybody in the organization, we've got a tight budget this year. Nobody is going to attend any conferences, no matter what conferences you've been attending in the past, no matter how beneficial you think they are to you and will be again. You won't be attending any conferences. We don't have any budget for it. And then 6 weeks after that announcement, the CEO and a dozen of his top officials head for a very expensive resort and spend the weekend there on a planning session. That message is not a credible message. Credibility demands consistency and reliability. And as an old saying goes, your word is your bond. And then a third true, essential communication skill that's needed is be clear. Sometimes you absolutely wonder if some managers, CEOs, supervisors, leaders, if they even know the language that they're trying to communicate in. One of the worst mistakes that I remember seeing is where a CEO standing in front of a group of department heads, every time a question was brought up, the stock answer would be, well, we're looking into this. That's not clear. That doesn't tell us anything. We're looking into this. Who's looking into it? What steps are being taken? Is it a committee? Is it a task force? Are any of us involved? We're looking into it. Doesn't tell us anything. Along those lines, being clear, what about the way we give instructions? I want you to bring me a report on customer service in this organization soon. Oh my, what are the questions you have in your mind? What customer service? Our customer service regulations, our customer service orders, our customer service actions, the way we deal with customers internally or externally. And what do you mean by soon? And is that this week or this month? And also, what do you mean by a report? Is this something you want in writing? Do you want a volume? Who else is to be in on gathering this? All those questions are unanswered. And then the fourth communication skill that is essential if you're going to be a top manager is to be receptive. Be receptive. The best leaders are receptive. They're receptive to change. They're receptive to other ideas. They are great listeners. I can look back on my father's career. My father managed a family department store for over 40 years. One thing I never heard him do in all those 40 years was give a speech anywhere. He declined to give presentations in his church. He was a civic leader, but he would not lead groups with speeches. I don't think he chaired many organizations, but he was revered in his business and in his town because he was a great listener. People would go into his office, shut the door, and know that they were getting some wonderful confidential counseling. You want to be a great leader? You want the communication skills that are necessary? Read all the books, go to all the seminars, listen to what everybody else says, and then I hope you take into consideration what I've said as well. Be visible, be credible, be clear, and be receptive. Thanks for being with me. I'm Bill Lampton, the Biz Communication Guy.